Alright, so we're going to start with the defensive end, Paul Wiggin. He's going to set the standard for the Cleveland Browns defensive team. Now, Paul Wiggin, two-time Pro Bowler, one-time NFL champion, pretty big dude, guy that played from 57 to 67. You know, he won an NFL championship with the Cleveland Browns, so he did his part. Again, there's no recorded stats or whatever, but all we know is that, all we know is that he was a very key member of this defense, so got to put him on there. Haven't heard as much about him, so I'm not expecting some Lawrence Taylor coming out of there, but I'm expecting some aggressive football because where he played that era, they were not light on the hitting. So yeah, I expect some aggressive, just trying to get after it. So all right, so defensive tackle Walter Johnson. I have made this as a 4-3 defense, so that will be the Cleveland Browns defense will be 4-3. So the front four. So anyway, we're gonna have Walter Johnson as the first defensive tackle, right beside the left defensive tackle, with Paul Wiggin there. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler. He's a gigantic defensive tackle. So yeah, I don't think he's gonna have that much trouble, especially since he's had some success with forcing fumbles and getting interceptions and doing the average thing of just he can play. He's valuable to the team. So I think that left side will be. I think it'll be pretty good. Like I said, I'm going to expect some tough-nosed football because they played in the 50s, 60s, 70s, where there wasn't many rules. So, yeah, I think that's going to be a pretty good brand of football on that side. So, I'm expecting some good stuff. Now, on the right side, the right defensive tackle, it's going to be Michael Dean Perry, a guy that was, he was drafted in '88. He was a 6-time Pro Bowler. He was a 2-time All-Pro. Super Bowl champion, played for Denver, played for Kansas, and played for Cleveland for 7 years. He won a Super Bowl title, actually, I believe, with the with the Denver Broncos. I believe that's the case. Yeah, and yeah, no, just overall, fantastic player. He's 6'1", he's almost 300 pounds. A guy that gets after it. At one point, had like 11 and a half sacks. For real, like his career sacks there in Cleveland, he had about 480 tackles, 51 and a half sacks, 7 fumble recoveries, 10 forced fumbles, a touchdown with that. Like, started 90 games, played 109. He's going to be a really good defensive tackle for them. I think he's going to do some good things, and I can't wait to see those two defensive tackles pairing up with each other, see how they do. All right, well, you're going to have the right defensive end, the last one on the front four, Bill Glass. He was a 4-time Pro Bowler and a 1-time NFL champion. Played for Detroit his first 4 years of his career and then ended up in Cleveland for 7 years with, as well, winning an NFL title with the Cleveland Browns. So, yeah, he's a part of that with Paul Wiggin. He was part of that, that addition of tough-nosed defense. It's fantastic. Now, I'm expecting, like I said, both defensive ends. They have experience. They know how to play the game. They're for sure tough, and they're big guys. So I expect them to be successful in areas against other really tough offensive linemen. Like I said, do I see that this as the best defensive line class? No, and also I just don't know much about him to actually put him in that category. But overall, no, out of all of them, I've seen some better ones, but this is not a terrible defensive line. So I think they get there. I think they can wreak some havoc. Just time will tell. All right, now you're gonna have the 3 linebackers there, whatever you want to call it, left outside linebacker, left inside linebacker. Whatever you want to call weak side, strong side, whatever you want to call it. But it's going to be Jim Houston. He's going to be the first linebacker out of the 3 there. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler. He's a 1-time NFL champion. He's a guy that played for the Browns his entire career. 12 years of it was with the Cleveland Browns. He switched on from defensive end to linebacker, mostly for being a linebacker. A guy that played almost 200 games, a guy that had multiple interceptions, a guy that's caused fumbles, a guy that's recovered fumbles, a guy that's been very valuable to the team, which won the title. Again, he was another part of that 64 NFL championship Cleveland Browns team. So you're looking at a lot of those guys from the 60s. So it's hard to depict their stats and everything because there was never really any stats until 70s, 80s came around. They started actually paying attention to statistics. But Jim Houston is one of those linebackers I think will be very important to them. I mean, he is, like I said, I would say he's one of the most influential ones from reading all the articles, reading everything. He's definitely one of the most influential Cleveland Browns of all time. So that's saying something. Definitely nothing to ignore. But yeah, no, I think he will be not bad. He won't be too bad. So, all right, the middle linebacker is going to be Charlie Hall. Charlie Hall played for the Browns from 1971 to 1980. Pretty big linebacker. A guy that played pretty much his entire career, almost his entire career, pretty much. Just overall guy that was just out there, that was very valuable to his team. That got it done. No, he did not win a ring at all with the Cleveland Browns, but he was definitely a very big focal point of it. And he was, like I said, the time of the 70s where you had to be tough. 70s, 80s, that was a tough year. 60s was great, but like I said, my only question with his defense is, will they be too slow? Because how the game has evolved. Different generations get faster, get bigger, get stronger, their mental is different. So will that affect their play? We'll have to see. So that's why we'll have to see. But I think Charlie Hall will be pretty good as a linebacker. All right, the last but not least, linebacker is going to be Clay Matthews, Senior. Clay Matthews Jr. Clay Matthews, the Matthews family is just royalty. It's football royalty. They've been fantastic for so many years. So Clay Matthews Sr. and then Clay Matthews Jr. Don't know about Clay Matthews the third, right there. I mean, they're like I said, they're royalty. They really are. You're looking at having just fantastic players over the years, and right now the other kids are definitely not doing terrible right now. They're definitely they're playing some good football out there in the NFL. Like I said, just like the Sutter family in hockey, like anything out there, it's royalty. It's fantastic. Anyway, Clay Matthews Jr. played 16 years in Cleveland, 3 years in Atlanta, and all I can say is Cleveland he destroyed. He had over 1,000 tackles. He had about 62 sacks. He was able to force fumbles. He was able to recover fumbles. He was able to pick it up and then bring it in for a touchdown. A guy that was able to pass deflect. A guy that was able to get interceptions, multiple, 14 to be exact. A guy that played 232 games as a Cleveland Brown. He is very valuable to the team. And in my honest opinion, he should be up for a Hall of Fame. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler, yes. I know he doesn't get really much recognition, but I really do believe he should be a Hall of Famer, in my honest opinion. So yeah, I think he's going to be a very big key piece to the entire defense. So, all right. So the corner is going to be Clarence Scott. Clarence Scott is a 1-time Pro Bowler, a guy coming out of Georgia College, Kansas State, getting drafted the first round in 1971 by the Browns. A guy that played from 1971 to 1983, pretty much his entire career with Cleveland. Never missed a step. He did change from strong safety, free safety, but was mostly a cornerback. Overall, just his value is very high. He started pretty much almost all the time, and he had about 39 career interceptions. That's not terrible. That's really not terrible. So I expect him to honestly just bring that edge. Like I said, bring that edge. He's played with, I believe he's played with Clay Matthews. So, I mean, they have that connection out there with the defense. There's definitely defensive players that have connections because of generations. There's some that are paired at the same time, so they know what they're going to do. They understand so that they can coach themselves a little bit more. Clarence Scott and Clay Matthews are the same thing. They can be able to kind of get themselves to get better and to better their craft, of course. But yeah, no, Clarence Scott is going to be that first corner. I think he deserves that right to be there. The other corner is going to be Hanford Dixon. Hanford Dixon is a defensive back, which was a 3-time Pro Bowler and a 2-time All-Pro, coming out of the College of Southern Miss. A guy that played his entire career in Cleveland, for, like I said, the entire 80s decade. Had a couple sacks, had about 26 interceptions. I mean, like I said, these aren't fantastic corners. These aren't Hall of Fame corners, but they're corners that can get it done, and I think they're going to work very hard to cover some of these guys. So honestly, yeah, I give them some props. I think they're going to do some good things out there in that secondary so far. So, all right, now the free safety is going to be Thom Darden. Thom Darden is an Ohio native, so it fits well for him to be there. He went to school in Michigan, which is odd. I'm not sure about his backstory on that, but yeah, he went there. Was strong safety for his first year, and then changed to free safety all of his career in Cleveland. A guy that had had 45 career interceptions for almost 1,000 interception yards. He had 2 touchdowns. Was able to get some fumble recoveries. Played in 128 games. So he's a guy that's been there, done it before. Like I said, Pro Bowler 1 time. I'm pretty sure not many people know about him, but not bad. I think he's going to be a pretty good free safety for them. He's not the best of all time, but he can be a ball hawk. So I think that's what they need in Cleveland, and I think it will work out. Last but not least, the strong safety, Mike Howell. Mike Howell, his nickname being Tracked Down. He played for the Cleveland Browns from 1965 to 1972, and then moved on for 1 year to Miami, and then, well, he didn't play again. So he had a short 9-year career back in the 60s and early 70s. A guy that was a Super Bowl champion out there with, of course, those Miami Dolphins. With those Miami Dolphins. He was also a part of that team that won the NFL championship in Cleveland. I do believe that. I think he did, yeah. But this is a guy that had 27 career interceptions. Gonna play that strong safety position. A guy that's about 6'1", not even 200 pounds, but I think he'll be able to do it. I think he'll be pretty productive. So we'll see how it goes. Like I said, the secondary, kind of questionable and kind of not. It's kind of questionable. It's kind of good. But at the same time, we'll see how it goes. Now, the kicker spot is legendary. It's going to be Phil Dawson. Phil Dawson has been a kicker of the Cleveland Browns for 14 years. And he had 4 years in San Fran. He's now in Arizona Cardinal at the age of 42. This guy's been playing for years. But yeah, he's mostly a Cleveland Brown for life. He had he had 305 field goals that he made out of 365. So overall, 84% field goal percentage with 97.8 extra point percentage. And he had some punts in there, which is kind of funny. But yeah, this is a guy that is legendary. He's a Hall of Famer. He has 422 field goal makes in his career. He has an average of an 83.9 field goal percentage overall. So I mean, not much you can say other than that. He was very much so clutch when he has to be. It's the unfortunate ability of not being able to be in the playoffs as much. Just being in the playoffs when he was a Cleveland Brown all the way in 2002, and then being a part of that 49er team in 2013. They got to the playoffs, but yeah, he's a Pro Bowler, and in my honest opinion, he's a Hall of Famer. So he's one of the best kickers, even right now, but also in the NFL. In terms of history-wise, he's up there. So, yeah. All right, that's punter is going to be Chris Gardocki. I didn't even see it until right now. He's flipping someone off. That's a funny picture. But this is a guy that played for the Browns from 1999 to 2003. One-time Pro Bowl and All-Pro and Super Bowl champion. Overall, I believe he was Super Bowl champion with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I do believe it's that. But this is a guy that he's the best option for Cleveland. Only was in Cleveland for 4 years. He's accumulated over 50,000 punt yards. When he was with the Browns, he accumulated over 20,000 with never getting blocked. He's never been blocked in his career. Like I said, his approximate value, everything about him, very valuable. He's the best punter for the Cleveland Browns right now. So yeah, I think it'll be a good thing to see Dawson and Gardocki. So we'll see how it goes. All right, the returner is going to be Josh Cribbs. He's literally was for 7 years in Cleveland, 3-time Pro Bowl and All-Pro, coming out of Kent State. Honestly, he killed it. I mean, for overall, skill, he was fantastic to watch at one point. It was unreal. And I mean, overall, you're looking at his 8-year career there, and he had 195 punt returns for 2,154 punt return yards and 3 punt return touchdowns. An average punt of 11, and then his kick returns was 387 of them for 10,015 kick return yards and 8 kick return touchdowns with an average of 25.9. I mean, on top of that, he also could be a receiver. He can go out there in the slot, whatever you want to do. He is a weapon out there as well. Like I said, he also was a part of that all 2000s team for his skill as being a return man. So not much else but to just really understand that he was one of the best punt return and kick return guys in the league for a very, very long time, and I totally believe in him. I think this is one of the most strongest, in my opinion, special teams right now that I've got right now. I definitely like the return man, Josh Cribbs. All right, so now the coach is going to be Paul Brown, Hall of Famer, 3-time NFL champion. He is an Ohio guy, so executive for 40 years, and he was a coach for 25 years. So, I mean, not much else. Definitely has been seen as, well, at times in a terrible light, but in Cleveland, he is also known as the guy. He is the man. I mean, he is the guy that's led him to many, many titles we're looking at. He started his job in 48, at the age of 38 with the Cleveland Browns there, coaching-wise. Got him to 4 straight AAFC championships. Then he won an NFL championship once that was fixed. And then after that, about like 3 more years later, they would go back-to-back again. They would go back-to-back NFL champs. And yeah, this is a guy that, like I said, that's hard to do already. But the fact that he's won 7 titles in Cleveland, and he is the most recent figure in terms of success and everything in Cleveland. Yeah, you got to have Paul Brown in there, especially when you've also employed Bill Walsh, which is one of the best coaches of all time as well. So yeah, Paul Brown is going to be their coach. It's going to be their vocal leader, and I expect nothing less but just trying to be the best they can be and playing their heart out. I know Paul Brown, not personally, but I know like his mentality is you got to play harder than the other man. I believe that this team can have some bright spots if they were to verse this regular season matchups.